Hello, Creative Spirits listeners. I'm back. Internet TV playing nice and great. I'm Sherry McCarthy of Creative Roommates, and I'm with, as always, Kate Darnell of Gumboots by the Sea.
Hi,
the
everyone.
most wonderful Kate, who I've missed so much. I'm so happy to see your face. So, you're going to have a little bit of us going, yay!
Pure therapy. I'm just like, I'm home. Sherry and Kate are back.
Exactly. It just feels like, okay, complete, starting the new year properly. And we are actually starting season 4 today. So even though this is actually probably February, last week of January, first week of February, this is coming out. We recorded a little bit earlier. But season 4, and really into the new year, but it's always, I find, it takes a couple of weeks before you hit your footing. And that's why I kind of like celebrating the Chinese New Year, actually, because I kind of feel like I've had that false start over with. Which, yeah, this is perfect also then for talking about this season, which is root to rise, grounding. This is so important, I think. And we really want to talk about this season, expectations, and how they kind of ruin everything in the end, coming right back down to looking at the roots and your soil and your values and what you really want to grow from. Remove yourself sometimes from all that noise and the massive static that we get into once we start building something, be it a relationship, a business, or our lives. When we start looking and comparing, getting confused and going, the solution almost always is to go back to your roots, grounding, going back to your soil, going, wait a minute, what is it that I even value? Why am I getting upset about this? This is actually not me. This is ego again. Going back to the grounding, going back to your roots and saying, okay, ego, turning you off for a minute. What do I really want? What do I really need? And going from there.
What do I really value? Because we can get so lost in a story that isn't even ours, or a story that doesn't exist. Like, is this of service to me? Do I actually even value where I'm choosing this energy, when I could be putting this energy back into me, back into what's right in front of me in this moment, by grounding, coming into self and celebrating what is right now without the expectation, without the mind and soul sabotage. Just, wow, here in this moment, everything is perfect, exactly as it needs to be. And I'm going to celebrate, embrace, and enjoy that.
Yes. Exactly. Because again, if you're building something that's driving you so insane, you got to ask yourself, am I going to enjoy the results? This is really what I want. But it's not making me happy on the journey. I'm not talking about setbacks. This is something very different. Setbacks, are to be mourned and our wounds licked and learned from and moving forward. But if your whole life seems to be a setback, then are you building the life you really want to build? That would be my question. And this is why going back to grounding and going deep and finding, wait, what do I really want? What do I want to feel? And how do I go from there? It's Daniel Laporte's desire map planning. It's doing what I want to feel as opposed to doing what I think will bring me those feelings.
Yeah.
Very different approach, but a very much more intelligent approach, I think, and sanity-saving approach. Because it's like, wait, if this isn't lighting me up, what makes me think that getting there is going to light me up?
Yeah. So do you think it's helpful then, when we do ground our energy, to ask the why? Like, why is this winding me up? Why? What message or what social media thread, what person, what words triggered this to make me feel out of body, not in a good way, lost, overwhelmed, depressed? Like, do you think
exactly?
Yeah, the why. Like, okay,
it's scary though.
Why? Yes,
and to really go why too, because there's often an easy why. The easy why is whatever society tells you. So a perfect example is being on Instagram or something, and someone who started business 2 weeks before you did, or 3 months after you did, has like 6,000 followers, and you're like, what? Why do you have 6,000 followers? Why? And then the easy thing is to tell yourself, oh, you don't work hard enough. That person obviously is like better than you are. They're more valuable. And so there is a story. You can ask yourself why, and the why could be that you're telling yourself is an easy why of, well, I'm upset, of course, because they're more successful than I am, or I'm upset because obviously they're better than I am. Or even just, but I think that's not really your why, because in the end, they could have bought, they could be doing that stupid
That's not
thing
a
where
grounded
they go
why.
around. Exactly. It's not a grounded why. That's still very much up in the air, static noise why. It's an easy why fed you by society, by what you want to believe because it's easier. Then you need to go deeper, because truthfully, part of you also, when you're going deeper, needs to admit, oh, but you know what? It does trigger me they have more whys, because part of me is afraid I'm not enough. Even though I know it's not true, I have to face that as much as I want to march the beat of my own drum, seeing that many likes by someone else is triggering me, which means part of me wants to be that liked. Part of me wants to have that many likes and is frustrated that I don't. And it has nothing to do with, oh, you're not working hard enough, you should work harder, blah, blah, blah. That's the easy one that you can cling on to because you're like, I can work on that easily. That just means doing more work. I've got howlers. Like, that just means doing more work. I can do that. That's an easy one because, yeah, that's the one that spins you in circles and keeps you up for static. But your grounded why is going deeper and going, well, part of me, no. Oh, man. Did I just lose you guys? No, I didn't. Okay.
No, we're here. We're here.
Okay, I was like, no, I lost you. Not internet. Yeah, and but the deeper down part is like, wait a minute, I have to accept that part of me is still that, grade 3 little kid who wants to be accepted at recess and was told, no, you can't sit with me because you have the wrong shoelaces. And you don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person anymore. I'm almost 40. Ain't they past that stuff? But there are times still when I get triggered by this stuff and I go, oh, okay. I can either go with, all right, I'm going to get a box system too. Or I can be, wait, now go back to your roots. What do you really value? Why is this triggering you? And go, you know what? No, I want organic growth. I want to actually talk to people. I don't want a bot spamming people for me to get followers. I want to actually talk to people. If I can't, I'm okay with slow building. But now I kind of need to hold that inner child and be like, it's okay, you're throwing a temper tantrum that somebody else has more likes than you do, either because they earned it or not. Whatever that story is, it's fine. It's not your story. Ground down. Let it go, but let it go by talking through it, don't put a Band-Aid on it. Don't pretend it's not there. Clean out that wound. And the cleaning out the wound sucks. Oh, yeah. But if you're grounded, you can do that cleaning.
Yes. And
you can't do that cleaning up in the air and the static where everyone else is, the wind is hard, it's blowing, your leaves are all shaking. Yeah, it's not a good energy up there. You need to be strong, and you go back to your roots for the real work.
And back to the roots. And I think a big message that just came to me then was that the roots can always go deeper. So it's one thing to be like, oh, I did this work. And this is a real revelation for me this year, coming back to roots. It's one thing to be like, well, I did this work, so I've let that go and up and away. And cool, like I often say up and away, like, wow, you've had that breakthrough. I know personally I've had so many breakthroughs. They're in 2, nearly 3 books of mine, these breakthroughs, but the roots can always and will always go deeper and need to go deeper. Like, it's safe to go and turn that soil every now and then. And I think one thing that I've found recently within me is I'll go, something's triggering me. And I'm pretty quick to come into body, ground, and say why, but then I forget to turn the soil. And I go, oh, well, I try to trick myself into just skimming over like, oh, that's right, that thing, never mind. Instead of like, no, let's go back. Let's go back to that triggered childhood hood memory, or to that belief that has come from family, from teaching, from schooling, from an upbringing that's not necessarily serving you now. And it always, for me personally, comes back to self-worth. 100%. I'm not good enough. I am not as good as that person. It's toxic and it's dangerous, and we need to turn that soil bit of souls and put those roots down deeper, so that we can stand taller, stronger, more courageous in ourselves. It's so essential that we do that. Wow.
Yes, and I love that you said that too, because this is something that I actually recently had a breakthrough in the last couple of days. I realized also just how close sometimes that the deeper you go, the darker it gets. And so it's a good thing down there, but sometimes you don't realize you need to do some feeling out. Like for me with the coaching, when I was doing the coaching, I loved it. It really lit me up, but it was taking away from my writing. And I was feeling like, oh, but I have no time for writing and writing and writing. And at first I was like, okay, but you know, I feel like I want to do this. What's going on here? And finally I just made the cut and said, okay, no, I'm just going to focus more on the writing. That's what I really want to do. I give myself permission to do that. And so I was really working through it the other day though too, and I was something else completely different. I think it was year-end reviews, like something you closed and how do you feel about it, right? And moving on. And I realized that the coaching for me was also a self-loving act of sabotage, you know, in the sense that I was like, look at me, I'm giving to other people. Who am I to have time to write when other people need time too? So here I am, wrapped myself in sacrificial lamb clothing and said, okay, well, I will give up some writing time so I make sure other people have writing time, because that's what I do. I give. I have to make sure people are taken care of. Who am I to have writing time if someone else can't? I will make sure everyone else is there first, and then I'll bring up the rear. And in a way, it's
true,
good.
Sherry. Who are you? Like, how dare you? Yeah, but I hear you. I really hear you.
Cancer rising.
Yeah.
And not even realizing it, because it felt good. It felt good. And I enjoyed it, and I was helping people, but it was at the cost of my time to write. I was no longer making new things. I was no longer writing fiction, and the only books I was putting out were all nonfiction planners and stuff like that, because the only thing I had time to do was to kind of be like, okay, actually, I know a perfect worksheet for you, and I'll make a book out of that. You know, so that was the best I was doing, and I was telling myself it was okay, because I was like, look at this, I'm helping people, and I'm getting stuff out. What more do you want? You know, like that's what I always do to myself. What more do you want?
Yeah,
all of it, Sherry. You're allowed to have all of it.
Yeah, key question. What more do you want? Well, I want it all. And you're deserving and can have that all. But do you know what this is really interesting, I think, for me and our listeners, is that often we go, okay, I found this heart and soul led adventure that I'm going to follow. And you almost were like, well, cool, like coaching, that's it. I've found this. But no, your heart and soul led adventure is your writing. And so you'd found a thing that was, you know, stepping out of the mainstream and following heart and soul, but you were kind of hiding behind it. It was like me with products. When I first came to Gumboots by the Sea,
exactly.
I had beautiful essential oils, and they were so beautiful. I loved sharing with them, and they were a beautiful way to connect with people. And I still have people who talk about those scents and what that awoke in them, and that is beautiful. But if I kept putting my energy into something that was taking away from my true connection to source and the way that I could truly serve and fuel not only fuel my creativity and my passion for empowering others and myself along the way, well, I had to let that thing go. But you know, wow. So really sometimes we've got a route to let stuff go, guys, as well, to rise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think if you don't go down into that soil and root, yes, well, exactly, because if you don't root, if you don't go back and revisit, because it sounds good. Danielle Laporte, I think it's Danielle Laporte. She also says, let go of say no to the good so you can say yes to the great.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I was getting stuck sometimes. This is good. You know, hold on to it, because you are secretly saying, and this is what I mean by going deep in roots too, because you think to yourself, this is good. What more do you want? This is good. And it's like, no, you want great. And you're allowed to have great. And so let go of that to go for what you truly want. You know, you get to be as big and wide and beautiful as you deserve. And you deserve as much as you can. And I think this is where the work always keeps coming back. That even when we get so frustrated and in our heads, it's like, wait, okay, right now I'm up here telling myself a story and I'm chasing it. I go deep down, forget the story, look at my values, look at what I want. And with those in hand only, does this story fit into this box? If not, let it go. And all of a sudden, this thing that was driving you crazy is like, why was that upsetting me?
Yeah.
because you're plugged into other people's stories. You know, you're plugged, and there's a lot of energy flying around out there. I mean, social media has made it so that we are truly connected to the planet. I mean, it's a wonderful thing, but it's very easy to get sucked up into other people's energies and be like, whoa, why am I so upset?
Especially New Year's resolutions, doing inverted commas for our listeners, not viewers. The New Year's resolution thing really got me, and people talking about, you know, the year ahead and these resolutions. I know we touched on this in interludes, but it really got to me because it's still, everyone is wrapped up in this productive energy, which I believe has been very much fueled by the moon cycle that, you know, came in very early, you know, a week into the year. So it's still so early in the year, even for our listeners in February, it's such a fresh time of the year, especially actually because this will come out around a new moon. But, and I'm so moon cycles now. I need to be, that works for me. That is my thing. And I absolutely love it. But you can't help but be pulled into what you're surrounded by energetically, the words that people are putting out, like, you know, so what are you most looking forward to this year? And I'm like, I can tell you this moon cycle. I don't know the whole year. I've got a lot of things coming up. There's like 13 moon cycles, I think, maybe only 12, but I think there is 13 this year.
But that's, again, excessive expectations, right? The weight there of 12 at once. Whoosh.
Yeah. And it's not, doesn't serve me anymore. It doesn't serve me anymore because even though there was a beautiful question and that was someone connecting with me and loving me, I was like tongue-tied, because what serves me is coming into moment, taking the time to see, well, what am I most looking forward to right now? You know, playing in the sand, jumping through the waves, building a sandcastle, having an ice cream, exercising later. I don't know. You know, like those
things are all so important.
Yeah.
And again, why I tell people to ground and stop looking at other people's stories. Other people's stories are, what are you looking forward to this year? That's how we're trained. That's how we buy products. You know, are you looking forward to the summer with bikini body? You have to start now. Buy my program, buy my book, buy this diet, do this. Because if they don't have that force feed, you know, and some of it is purely unintentional and some of it is very malicious, but no matter the reason, you know, because we're all plugged into that same story, so we're used to that vocabulary and we use it. But no matter what the reason is, like, wait a minute, step back. It doesn't matter what I look like this summer. It doesn't matter what you look like ever. But if you are looking forward to 2 months and you're going to torture yourself for 6, so you can have 2 months of happiness, which is probably not going to be happiness anyways. You haven't been training yourself how to enjoy the everyday, how to enjoy that ice cream, how to enjoy the sand, how to sit there and breathe and be like, I love this sunshine. Or I love the way the snow is glinting today. If you can't enjoy these little moments, your life is just going to be a string of semi-highs, which may or may not disappoint. And when you look back, it's like, why was I killing myself? Why did I kill myself for other people's expectations, for other people's judgments, for other people's wishes? When really, I could have just been living every single day going, oh, you know what? I'm striving for this. I do have a big goal. I do want to write books and make lots of money from them and, you know, be able to tell my kids, look there on the bestseller shelf, that's mommy. But I can't control that. That is, like we were saying before that you started rolling the camera, it was luck. Oh, what was it? Kate? Luck, self-care, and your third one. It was magic.
Things, I think. Simplicity in the magic. But
simplicity. Exactly.
So my mind was buzzing.
I need to enjoy the journey getting there. Yeah, but I need to enjoy the journey to get there. You know, and I need to say, but even if that never happens, I loved trying it. I loved having that as my goal and living my life towards that goal. And maybe it happens and maybe it doesn't, but I can control today. I can control now. And I'm going to say, I want to be a writer. I am a writer. And that's what I'm working for.
Already doing it, my love. And I don't think we're saying, and when you're rooted in this, I believe that you can hear us clearly saying this. We're not saying don't have dreams. We're not saying don't have
Exactly.
If anything, we're encouraging you to honor them more by coming into body, by grounding your energy, by tuning into what you need, and then going and getting it by being in each precious moment. One small, intentional step at a time. And it's totally okay to look ahead.
Exactly.
Like, I already know that Destination Death, yeah, that's going to be my bestseller. It's going to be sitting next to Sherry's, and we're going to be happy, happy days. It's going to be a happy time. But right now, I have to be really proud of the 2 books that already are published and the beautiful deck that's, you know, coming to life. I can't sit there and be like, oh, but my dream hasn't happened yet. It's so cliche, I know, but you really have to live the dream, not, you know, look back and go,
exactly.
I'm dream, you
Yes.
know. Oh yeah, like you've got to live it right now. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Wow. Okay.
And it's also normal to get totally caught up in these stories, as much as we're saying don't get caught up in the stories, you know.
It's so normal.
No, just as normal to get caught up in the stories as well. That's what we're talking about. The reason why we're talking about it is because it is so normal, which is why it's important to ground and go back and be like, okay, what is my dream? Let's start living it again today.
Yep.
Exactly. I have right now.
Yeah, we have right now. And isn't that amazing? I really love these opportunities because, you know, here, my alternative to right now could be absolutely and utterly sleeping. Yes, definitely. It's 11:30 at night. It's getting very late. I have work tomorrow. But what I get out of doing this, I love it because it reminds me every week to awaken. Like this is my choice. This is how I want to live my life. I want to live it awakened. And so I love doing these late podcasts where anything comes out of my mouth and like, it's almost like the veil is down. And I'm like, spirit, however it's going to be, whatever. I trust more because, you know, I've usually done a couple of evening sessions. I've been up doing some work. It's my Sherry time. But every time, and no matter how tired I am the next day, I remember to come into body and I'm awoken to the fact that being present, getting what you want and what this gives back to us, each other and our listeners is so much more valuable than those 2 extra hours sleep I might be getting every Tuesday evening. And, you know, vice versa for Sherry's early morning starts when she has young children. Like, all hail us, right? All hail all of us as we rise, ground.
All hail mamas.
Love us more. Oh yeah, always a shout out to the mamas. Always. So we have just like given so many snippets into we don't really know what our season's going to look like, but I feel we've given so many snippets into what this season's about, really grounding our energy, really rooting and like turning that soil over, going a little bit deeper, getting into the murky mud, coming out the lotus, going back into the murky again, and knowing it's so safe to do that. There cannot be light.
Exactly.
It's so safe to embrace it all. Embrace all of you right now. Know that you are in fact perfect as you are right now in this moment. And if you feel like you're not really kicking goals right now, take a little moment to come into self and go, well, what is it that I really want? And then gently work towards it.
Exactly. Gently work towards it.
By being in the
you
moment.
have permission to go for exactly what you want, not a modified version.
Simple and as complicated as that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Simple and as hard as that.
From Neil Gaiman. Exactly.
Yeah. It's ours now.
But
we say that now. I'm always like quoting Sherry from who she's quoting, and I'm like, yeah, that's a Sherry quote in my world. In my realm, that's a Sherry quote. Like even the Marilyn Monroe one.
Which is a fabulous quote, right?
It's a fabulous quote. If you can't love me as the way I am now, I can't even remember it right now. Anyway, we're starting to
if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Love it. Always love that one. If you've been listening to season 1, you know exactly what we're talking about. Sherry, it's always a pleasure. I feel like it's wrap-up time because I'm starting to get my ramble on, which is okay, but the rambles for the book, right? I love you so much. And to our listeners that have been here since season 1 or our listeners that have just found us now, you're exactly where you're meant to be. I really believe that you're meant to hear this podcast created Fully Spirit Led by Kate and Sherry. We love you all so much, and we will chat to you next week with who knows what about who knows what, but it'll be perfect because that's what we do.
I love you, Kate, so much.
It'll be perfect too. I love you, Sherry. Talk soon.
And I love you, listeners, too.
We love you, listeners. Bye.